Many of us, as part of the human condition, experience what people call feelings of guilt. Do you struggle with guilt? Well, actually, you're not struggling with a feeling of guilt because guilt, if you think about it, is really not a feeling. When we are in a courtroom, we don't ask people if you feel a person is guilty. We ask if a person's guilty. Why is that? Because guilt is a matter of objective truth, not subjective experience, right? It would be equivalent to me saying, I really feel pregnant. It really wouldn't matter what I feel. That's what you'd be thinking, hopefully, because pregnancy is an objective issue. Either I am or I'm not. And so that's important for us to remember when we think about guilt. Guilt is not a feeling. Guilt is an objective reality. Either we are or we aren't. So when we say we are feeling guilty, what we're actually feeling oftentimes is the feeling of shame. Shame is the sense that there's something wrong with me that's not wrong with anybody else. And typically what happens when we experience shame, we want to hide. We don't want other people to see us. And that is what we do. And it can take its form in many different manners that we hide. We can hide and we can shut down and shut other people out. We can isolate. We can hide behind accomplishments. We can hide behind drugs and self-medication. Okay. And so here's what I see happening is we have a belief system that I should have done something, or I shouldn't do this, or I should have done something else. And those shoulds lead to feelings of shame. And shame leads to behaviors of shutting down and shutting other people out. That's typically what happens when we experience guilt. Now, the good news is that we can do something about this. When we experience a sense of shame, what we need to ask ourselves is, well, am I guilty of something? And if we are guilty of something, well, that's good to know, because then we can do something about it. We can resist that urge to shut down and shut others out and do whatever is needed to rectify matters. Now, sometimes we feel that, and oftentimes we feel that shame, and it's not rooted in reality. We think we're guilty. We believe we're guilty, and in fact, we're not. And so that's where some really good news lies. When we feel that sense of shame and we want to hide, we need to first ask ourselves, well, am I guilty of something? And if we're not guilty of something, we don't need to have shame. That can be very freeing for us, because that shame that's rooted in false guilt is incredibly toxic and has one of the most damaging effects upon people. So hopefully this will give you a sense of freedom to be able to ask yourself, am I actually guilty of something? And if you are, great, you can do something about that now. And if not, fantastic, you can let that go. Hopefully this has been encouraging for you. My name is Brett Cushing. Thanks for listening.